Good evening. How are you doing? It's been almost 3 days since I spoke to you. Last was on Friday, and after that, I did some amount of what should I say work in terms of making a new video, which I'll be publishing today. So today, I won't be sharing this in my social media platforms. And welcome to my daily live session on mindset. I've been speaking about mindset quite regularly for quite some time now, almost a month and a half. My agenda has been mainly to let people know about mindset and why mindset is so important in achieving amazing outcomes, and to really start, what should I say, a kind of a movement where people would start looking at the basics in terms of achieving amazing outcomes instead of being in the superficial level. Why do I say that? Is because when we are really trying to learn something, when we are trying to go and understand how things work, and there are a lot of people who are marketing, who are selling, and there we try to be at the superficial level to really say that, okay, that's going to give me a benefit, and after that try it out for some time, and then it doesn't give a benefit, and after that I just leave it. And that's mainly because my mindset didn't really allow me to use that particular product or service to its fullest extent. I can say this with an example, let us say, of somebody talking about using the brochures for campaigning. It could, let us not worry about the product. I talk more about sales today because that's the topic for the week, and that's the sharpening theme for the week. Therefore, I'll take sales as the example. Brochures, for example. So let us say somebody works on brochures, and only you work on brochures, and try to perfect them to such a level that you are able to reach out to the target audience without any difficulty, maybe through newspaper distribution, or through post, direct post, or whatever it is. Then there is some amount of benefit. Many a times we just go halfway through and then stop, and that's basically because our mind is always telling us, look, that's not the right way to do it, and somehow we are getting forced to do it because of a lot of external influences. And that happens mainly because our mind works based on our past experiences and uh, emotional memories we have had, and these drive what is called as a framework, and the framework is nothing other than a mindset then predicts the future, predicts the events continuously in real time basis. Based on that, we are constantly perceiving, thinking, deciding, and acting or responding. And these are the main aspects of a mindset. And therefore, many a times when something is at the superficial level, our mind doesn't allow it to be continued, right? It goes on for some time, and then you just taper it down. And that's one of the reasons why many a times, though the solutions are outstanding, the services and the options available are outstanding, they don't really get benefited, or they don't really get implemented. And since they are not implemented because of our mindset, we don't reap the benefits. One example which I showed, which I spoke about just now, was the brochures. Let me talk about something else, which is a little contradictory to what I spoke about as an example of going into the depth. Let me talk about websites. There's a discussion which I had with one of my clients today in the afternoon. So he is into a business which is supporting a lot of schools in India. And of course, the schools are all shut down. Therefore, there is no market at all. There is no business at all. Sale is zero. So he was telling me, why can't we try to export it to other countries, and where the economies have not really been so much shattered, or where they have already started recuperating. Countries like Europe, or maybe Japan, Korea, Australia, where it is not that severe. Of course, US still in the uprising, so US possibly takes some more time to taper down, but the other countries, other locations, they're already started working. So then we were talking about that, and then he suddenly said that, look, sir, I want to engage somebody to really revamp my website. I said, why do you want to revamp the website? I said, then it will be good. He said that we will get good inquiries. Then after that, that's a very interesting uh, point. Just stay there. Website inquiries. Now, I have been having a website for the last almost 5-6 years. I do have get inquiries, not that I don't get inquiries, but the number of inquiries I get are not something which is phenomenal. Because if you are in a business of selling something which is a commodity, which is something everybody would like to buy, and they would like to have a variant in whatever that they're buying. Let's say there are shampoos, there are combs which are buying, comb to comb your hair, or maybe you've got pens, pencils, mugs, cups, things which you buy without really much thinking, because that would definitely not be something which can be bought for the entire lifetime. And the second is, every time you need to have something new, that the variation and variability is extremely important. So in such a case, having a website with a lot of SEO, which is search engine optimization and all that, would really give a lot of benefit, because the customer who's looking for wants to really take a decision then and there itself. Whereas in the case of a B2B business, which was the situation with my clients' organization, they are catering to educational institutions. So imagine a school or educational institution somewhere in Holland or Sweden or Germany trying to go to the website, do a SEO, and the buyer there trying to search out to find out which Indian companies supply these goods and then get back. Of course, there is a probability. And many a time, these probabilities are what that really drives us. It's like winning a lottery. There's always a possibility to win a lottery. There is absolutely no problem. But what is the probability of winning a lottery? What is the probability of somebody picking up the website, going to the internet, looking through the website, finding out that there is this company, and then getting in touch with them for a particular product or a service which they want to source from India? Now, there are a lot of uncertainties, a lot of variables there. First is, it's a foreign country, so he doesn't know what businesses in India do. And second is, the logistic cost is a huge thing, because it's a long distance from here to Germany. Then the third is that you never know how the website is really prepared. It's like the manuals which used to be done long time ago, or maybe signboards, billboards. You have outstanding billboards. And billboard can be painted, right? You can paint, you can write all kinds of things on the billboard. But when you get inside, then it's a different story altogether. It's like getting degrees versus having knowledge. Which is more important, knowledge or degrees? Now, the website, I thought, could be analogically compared to getting a degree. You could get degrees, you could get a lot of qualifications, but the knowledge will not be very high. When the client customer is trying to buy, he's buying for knowledge, not for the degree. Why do you think companies do a lot of interviews? And many of these new age companies, let us say the BPOs and ITES companies, have a massive training academy. They've got a massive academy where students who are freshers recruited from the college are trained there for almost a year before they get into their normal roles. Why do they do that? Is it because they are, what should I say, not able to rely upon the qualification? Or is it because the knowledge is not there? If the knowledge were there, then why would they spend so much amount of effort and money in training it? I would analogically compare that again to the sale. In the case of a sale, the customer is looking for knowledge, not for qualification. Qualification is only the entry board, the entry point. That is one possible way of entry. Of course, we need to have a website. I'm not telling that website is not required. But the common sense says, more than having a website in selling, the most important thing is to target the focus in a very focused manner, the targeted market segment, and there to prospect. Prospecting is a very proactive activity. Possibly English-wise, I'm not sure whether I was right or not. Proactive activity, because it's something where you have to do on your own, with your own initiative. There is no possibility of waiting for something to happen. Prospective is taking the step. Prospective is making a call. Prospective is sending an email, sending multiple emails, making multiple calls till the customer is really tired of you and says that, look, I don't want to get any email. I don't want to really talk to you. I don't want this service. Till that reply comes, keep trying. And that is prospecting. Of course, in a very focused and targeted manner. And that cannot be replaced by a website. That cannot be replaced by SEO. The other day, I was talking about social media marketing. Social media marketing, again, is very interesting for sales. Social media marketing is like going to your friend's house to have a drink. And how many times would you go to the friend's house to have a drink and start directly talking about your products and services, and then talk about finding out if there is a need to sell your product and services? Maybe you wouldn't be allowed to go the second time if you do that, isn't it? That's a social gathering. That's social media. Similarly, internet is something like having a billboard, having a display board put in front of your shop. You can paint, you can get all kinds of colors and lights and all that as much as you want. Will that increase your business? If that was the case, those companies, those shops which had a bigger billboard should have had fantastic, phenomenal business. I think of restaurants, especially, which reminds me, uh, the ones who have the biggest business are not the ones who have got big boards. The ones restaurants who have got big business, fantastic business, always full of customers, are the ones who serve quality food, very tasty, quality, hygienic, healthy food. They're the ones who have got a lot of queues, a lot of people standing there, not because of a billboard. So your website is something like a billboard, like something like a brochure. So is it so important that you really keep it so much outstandingly fine that the customer can then walk into your shop just because the billboard is nice? How many people would be like that? So that's again the common sense. Now, this common sense is forgotten many times in the industry. It's a very, very unfortunate situation. This common sense is forgotten. Therefore, because of so much amount of bombarding, so much amount of marketing, and those guys also are equally smart. In fact, I resisted to continue some of the programs where they started talking about understanding what kind of a psychology the customer has, and how do you make sure that for that particular psychology, how do you talk to him, how do you make sure what words to use, what words not to use, how do you understand what is the disc profile of a customer, and then find out which words are correct to use, which words are not correct to use. I feel all that is good. You are really trying to cause the customer to take a decision. Of course, selling and buying are all emotional, they are not really rational at all. But then, is it right? Is it right? When the customer doesn't have a need, you simply push it down his throat, and then you say that, look, I sold, fantastic job done. But did that really create a value for the company? Something which I want to ask you. And that can be only done if the product and service is extremely innovative. Only then can you not be adopting such strategies of pushing it down the throat with all kinds of manipulative strategies to make sure that the customer decides to buy your product and service. Why does all this happen in such a very chaotic manner? Basically because of mindset. Because we are our upbringing many a times drives us to do things which are totally not in the right spirit. And sometimes we do things because we are told by somebody, and we believe that that person helped us in the past, and therefore he is somebody who can be relied upon, without really knowing what he's telling or what she is not telling. So there are a lot of things which influence the way we behave, and this influence comes because of our past experiences, and that's what mindset is all about. And therefore, mindset and working on mindset to understand that we perceive reality, we think and connect the dots, we decide either based on the gut or based on benefits and effort, and finally we act and respond with consistency and conviction, all based on our past experiences, all based on our past memories, past emotions, and they form a framework, and that framework is what that drives the predictions, and these predictions will drive our behavior. Therefore, it's extremely important in sales to understand that we should not really be looking at all those things. I'm not trying to teach mindset so that somebody understands the past experiences and based on that talks to the customer. That's again, you can call it as rapport building. Somebody says you do a lot of research on that person, go and speak to him. All that is good. That's good to establish rapport, but then not to really sell a product or service which is not required to the customer. That's not going to take you any longer. That's not going to really be a great success story at all. It will be a short-term success, but it'll fizzle out very fast. So with that amount of topic and discussion on sales and marketing, a lot of things I spoke today are contradictory. But then do have a look, do think over, because we need to really create a society that is progressive, that is really looking at getting people to, what should I say, develop products and services that are really innovative, really exceptional in nature, which can be used. It's not about trying to sell something what you have got without really ensuring that the customer also will benefit from whatever you are selling. That's something which is important, and that's the core of really having a successful and a long-term, healthy, and very, very robust business, which is also progressive in nature. So with that sales portion, I will touch upon very briefly on the daily meeting, which I'm sure you would have had today, which is about going through your scoreboard, checking on successes and failures yesterday, then deciding on the rolling plan for the next 3 days, for next 3 days or 4 days, I would say 5 days totally, yesterday, today, tomorrow, day after, and the day after. For the next 3 days, we should have the rolling plan ready. Then the deviation management for any irritants or non-conformities that you observed, to confirm that the teamwork, despite the conflict, is really working seamlessly. And finally, to ensure that you're really rewarding and celebrating to make sure that the energy levels are high. And last but not the least, to really talk about any heads up, escalation, or approval requests that you need to place to the higher management so that your show goes on without any problem, without any interruption. Now, that I would again possibly dwell over a little more in depth tomorrow or day after. And today, let me again touch upon the activities which we have to do during this week for the quarterly business plan template which I have developed, which I have shared in the blog, and anybody can go to doHow.in, go to the blog, and then look at this in the blog on effectiveness, improving effectiveness, and then you can find this download. You can download it as a PDF file, and after that, use it to your satisfaction. This week, we need to be talking about next quarter framework guidelines. See, next quarter, we have a business plan to be done. For the next quarter business plan, what are the framework and what are the guidelines that you want to define? How would you like to go about doing the business plan? When I say framework, it could be talking about what focus areas are there, what would be the limits of your ratios. There are a lot of ratios which are used in business planning. For example, the material cost to sales ratio or the productivity ratio. How much amount of productivity do you need to consider? How much amount of utilization do you need to consider depending on the market situation? And what is the price change rate that you're going to consider? What is the growth rate that you're going to consider? These are all the guidelines which you're going to give for next quarter's business plan. That is one. And second, to define the framework also as to what all topics we need to consider, what are the focus areas for the next quarter's business plan, so that people can start working on the bottom of business plan, which is what the organization develops. And after that, top down, you or the management would try to go through that, analyze it, and then decide and give a final go to really start off the business as per that new plan. Then look at trying to do competitor benchmarking this week to understand who are the competitors, how are they doing, what is their core value addition, and how is it going on. And after that, though it may sound a little crazy, I'm going to talk about selecting and contracting a coach. Some of you may think this guy is really crazy. He's a coach and he's a facilitator. He's telling to everybody to contract a coach and or a guru or a mentor or whoever it is. Because see, all of us are in professional business. I've not come across any professional game where the players don't have a coach. Why is a coach required? Coach is required to make sure that you or the company performs to its maximum potential. Company really is on the right track. For example, in today's discussion with this client of mine, instead of spending time and energy and money in developing a website, develop the content, etc., I said that the most important thing is to really look at connections, because the first orders he's going to get only through connections. It will not be through a website at all, because nobody in the foreign lands would be interested in giving an order to an unknown company in India unless there is some kind of a trust, some kind of a belief, and that can only happen through connections. Therefore, I said you spend entire time, 24/7, in trying to find out all your relatives, connections, your friends, your networks, where you could get to somebody in those countries who could be voting for you to really talk about this product which you're selling. And that could be something which is what will give the maximum result instead of working on the website. So that's an example which I've got, very live example. Therefore, I want to tell that would be the job of a coach or a guru or a mentor who could possibly get the company on the right path. Or the other case, on Saturday, we were with a company working on project management. One of the most important thing there is to really, for each one, to really define what they want. It's a very interesting thing. I just spent another money. This is really very, very exciting to me. In any company, as employees, we are working there. And we can really push the limits to any level and continuously achieve amazing outcomes, as it happens in the developed countries. Why do you think there are so many innovations happening from America, from Europe, from Japan, from Korea? Not because those guys are more intelligent than us. They are equally or as good as us. In fact, when we have sent our trainees from when I was in Bosch, the operators, when we have sent them to Germany, they were really amazed. They said, how the hell are you calling them as operators? They're as good as our engineers. So we are not bad at all. The only problem is that our consistency in pushing the limit is very, very poor. When I say consistency in pushing the limit, let us say if I am working in a particular role in a company, how strong am I in demanding quality from whoever who's giving something to me, demanding performance from those people who are delivering to me? How strong am I? If I have to do that, then I should also be equally good in delivering performance. Otherwise, those guys will take me for a ride. He said, "You're a hypocrite. You're only asking us to give something good, but you're not doing something good." So these two, once you match them, then it becomes phenomenal. So last Saturday, when we are doing this activity with one company, the outcome was that everybody would start looking at what are they going to give and what are they going to demand in 2 weeks' time. So I'll tell you what happens there and what was the outcome of that. But that if you can do for everybody in the company, then it will be a magical situation. You have to demand performance. See, all of us have got only one life to live. Let us live a life with which we can be proud of, where our next generation can be proud of. And that's what life is all about. That's what living is all about. With that, I come to the end of today's live session. Thanks a lot for watching. And please don't forget to talk to your neighbors, relatives, friends, or colleagues on their perceptions of people to people interactions and what you believe their perceptions would be and what you assume their perceptions would be. Try to find the commonalities and the differences and start a dialogue to establish a common collective mindset. For those of you in India, have a nice evening. For those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. And this today, I'm not going to be sharing this video in social media post. I will do that maybe tomorrow together with tomorrow's video. Today, I'll be posting a video which I prepared. This is a video which I prepared, which has animation, which has got a multimedia presentation on how to change mindset. How I've been changing mindset in large organizations. Do have a look at that. And then nice seeing you again tomorrow evening. Thank you and goodbye.